I haven't streamed in a bit. I'm gonna get some more uh, RAM and get some memory sticks. Got that on my list. So hopefully I can start streaming a game while talking about the game and just talking about some general ideas. So like I said, I'm Faust. What we're checking out today is some statistics. So right now, uh, if you just watch regular news or you just kind of listen to just things in the periphery, you would think that the United States was having, that we're soft on crime and that we, don't criminalize anything and that we're having a huge crime spree. Let me grab some stats, you guys. Um, uh, by year, so we're going to look at some micro trends. So in just from 1990, and I know the early 90s had pretty high crime, late 80s, early 90s. I mean, it's just been falling off. I mean, consistently from the time I was born in 95 all the way down, and it keeps going. We're going to 99. Slight spike. I'm pretty sure there's kind of a recession in here. And anytime there's a social economic plight, a recession hits, there's more crime because people often commit crime because of socioeconomic means, not because, they inherently within themselves are violent or are driven to do crimes personally for no reason. Keep going, keep going. And even in 2010 with the great, when everybody was really, really hit by the Great Recession, again, not a ton of crime, keeps going down, keeps going down. Surprisingly, it spikes 2015, 2016, and then it kind of goes off, and then this goes to 2018. It should go to 2020. That just focuses it in. I just want United States, and I want it to 2020. This one's still only going to currently Pew Research. Let's see. Okay, this is from a couple years ago. Yeah, larceny and theft. Yeah. In terms of violent crimes, yeah, most of them are property crimes. Very few crimes that are committed are actually violent. Um, I gotta check. My phone's still being whacked. Oh, is it still loading? Still loading for you guys? It's nuts. When was this? I'm hoping everything's going smoothly. Really? It is not working. Oh, it just came up? Sorry for the technical difficulties. Oh, was it doing the other thing? Pigeon? Like, you've been able to hear me talk, right? Just ask chat that way. I could understand like going in between the screens, it wanting to have a rough time doing that with the way things have been. Yeah, yeah, it's going. Cool. So yeah, let's keep going. Sorry, there's been so many technical difficulties. Very frustrating. So we look here, the incarceration rate per 100,000. United States is in far away. More people are locked up here than really any place in the world. And these are just stats from 2019. If I look, um, how many people are in prison in the U.S.? This is the same site. I think this is the pie, the big picture. Okay, yeah, this is what we want to look at. One of the things we want to look at. So we got state prisons, federal, local jails, and so forth. So this is looking at, I guess, everything. And this is like what they're in for. So 141,000 for violent, 111,000 for property, 113,000 for drugs. Um, Not convicted is almost 500,000 people haven't been convicted yet. Yeah, U.S. locks up more people per capita than any other nation. Yeah, so it's about 1.9 million. So almost 2 million people, which is just absolutely insane. Um, and it really makes you think. I know I have someone in chat. Uh, okay, so Beauty Pigeon, your minor was in criminal justice. Um, so I know like a great majority of prisons, many people are in there that are nonviolent drug offenders. And what is the average for how long a nonviolent drug offender is put away? Let's look at that. We're just gonna Google stuff and look at stats. Um, Nearly 46% of people incarcerated. It's using an older stat from 2015, but I'm um, that's still not. I'm going to assume that hasn't changed that much since of how high the number is. That's not like a margin in error number that those people are being paid. Yeah. Like I said, I'm assuming the trend hasn't changed that much. Um, so they mostly are getting caught for like possession or have consumed an illegal substance, but not are inherently violent. So this could be. Let's look at this article. Nonviolent drug offenders are often considered persons that have possession of drugs and have consumed illegal substances, but are not inherently violent when eating, drinking, or taking illicit drugs or even prescription drugs. These individuals are not a threat or a risk to public safety. The only person they harm is themselves when consuming these powders, pills, or liquids. However, Because misdemeanors and felonies are only taken mildly into account, non-violent offenders still receive heavy sentencing because their actions involved illicit substances. Even with an experienced lawyer, these these offenders may have been in prison for years or decades based on the crime. The most important factors of these crimes are the severity of aggression, the amount of drugs found, and the actions of the offender. These acts could include selling, distributing, possession of large quantities of drugs. If more serious substances are found, such as heroin, the charge may increase. When others are affected or included in these operations, such as children, or additional crimes of abuse may be added, and the severity increases the charges. Or worse, the penalties may cause the perpetrator to live out or her life, his or her life in prison. It is important to have a lawyer to assist in reducing the charges. So, also keep in mind that the people that would be doing these crimes probably are not of higher economic means. So the chances that they could hire, a really strong, a really great lawyer, to get a really great defense is unlikely. Not that people who do public law can't be experienced or competent or care just as much. I'm just, we're kind of being honest that, money can buy a lot of things, especially in the court of law in terms of getting a great reputable defense. Black and Latino people are given way longer sentences for the exact same crime. Want me to hop on? No, it's great to have the interaction here because that affects, the statistics on Twitch. Let me grab. Actually, I don't need to do a new tab. Let's just go back. How long are inlet for drug crimes? It's still from the sentencing project. I wanted just to get the general stats. Okay. This isn't between blacks and Latinos and whites, but it is between black and white drug offenders. So let's look here. The abstract. Let's just do the introduction. The overwhelming increase in incarceration attributed to the drug war has disproportionately impacted black communities. In 2011, blacks were incarcerated at a dramatically higher rate than whites, 5 to 7 times, and accounted for almost half of all prisoners incarcerated, with sentences more of 1 year for drug-related offense. According to researchers in policy analysis have sought to understand both the cause and effect of the nation's war on drugs and its implication for racial equality. They have explored the racial bias of the criminal justice system and the criminal justice outcomes, including police practices, arrest rates, conviction sentences, length, diversionary opportunities in the community supervision, judicial policies, laws such as precedent-setting court cases and mandatory minimum sentences, and media trends at the influence of public opinion. The literature demonstrates greater likelihood for black involvement in the criminal justice system through policing practices and the sentencing of policies for drug-related crimes. Differences in sentencing practice and case processing and the heightened disadvantage of blacks face once they are removed from their communities upon return are labeled felons and drug offenders. Yeah, 5 to 7 times. Go back up here. The incarceration rate, 5 to 7 times higher. I mean, it's just it's saying, and if I remember right, Google blacks and whites do drugs at the same rate. It's something like that. It's one of the studies. Okay, it's from Vox. So they do them at similar rates, but one group is punished more. So whites, yeah. So there's 100,000 residents for each race. So for every 100,000, 332 whites are arrested, and for blacks, it's 879. Um, African Americans African Americans are hit much harder than any other racial ethnic group on the war on drugs. Even though there's no evidence of significantly higher drug usage or sales, the most obvious disparity appears to be between white and black Americans. Both groups use and sell, according to the same studies, of illicit drugs in similar rates, but black people are roughly 2.6 times as likely to get arrested for drug crimes. And they go into like subconscious racial biases, and sentencing reports, and socioeconomics. Again, anybody that is watching this, I always encourage people to read the same things I'm reading, or go find some new studies um, on your own, and just remember that everything has a multitude of factors on why things are happening. Nothing happens out of a vacuum. Nothing just appears. Nothing just exists by itself. Things have happened to led to a situation. So it's always really important to keep that in mind. Okay, yeah, beauty pigeon. If you want to set up a topic, and we do it together, we could do one of these together and discuss a topic. Both research it, and of course, if your major is in psychology and a minor in socio or in criminal justice, my major is in philosophy. So, no, I do not know who Dr. Ortiz is. Fill me in. Fill me in, please. Hey. No, I've been drinking out of my cup. I want some water. One moment. Oh, okay. She's a professor. She had published research about sentencing disparities between white, Latinos, and black prisoners, but I have no idea where I put that paper. So when you say CJ, do you mean like Carl Johnson from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? Is that what you mean? I'm just curious. No, I don't. All you had to do was follow the paper trail, CJ. Oh, criminal justice. Oh, sorry. Uh, I'm an idiot. I'd love to talk more about criminal justice, and I'm sure we will. Uh, but, let's move on to the other topic, or the other thing I was looking at. Um, that won't take as long, but the NSA surveillance. So, of course, in 2013, the story broke, Edward Snowden, that the government was spying on us. Even though that we kind of knew about it before, I believe that there were stories under Bush where they were talking about NSA spying. Actually, let me go to Google here, or our good old friend Google, and type in Sean Hannity, Bush, NSA. So yeah, let's look here. I'm going to turn this down because it's going to record on your side. But he was not so upset, if I remember right, about the NSA under Bush. Let's check this out. No, I don't want to go. Maybe I have to. Let me see. Can I at least still watch the video? Maybe not. Let's go to videos. No, Jesus. That was Sam Cedar. Isn't there a Mediaite or something like that? Okay, so according to a poll of 37 Democrats, found the NSA surveillance program acceptable under George Bush, while 64% find it acceptable under Obama. Similar, 75% of Republicans found them acceptable under Bush, while only 52 under Obama. I know that there was a clip, and it might be this. Let me look. Let's look. Oh no, an ad. 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 I'm not going to give that any attention. No, I wanted the Sean Hannity. They do a back and forth, and it's not here. I don't know where it is. If someone could find that, where Hannity basically says, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have to worry about it. And it was under Bush, and he's keeping us safe. And then it cuts to when it was broken in 2013 that Obama was doing it, and it expanded it, of course. Sean Hannity calls Obama King Obama, and that he's doing all this crazy stuff that no one's ever heard of and no one thought possible. But of course, they're feigning outrage because really, they liked it. I mean, not to go too far into the George Bush weeds, but the George Bush presidency was the same presidency, that set up a worldwide torture regime, suspended habeas corpus. People got tortured without a trial. The signing of the Patriot Act, where you can basically be picked up, arrested, or almost pretty much assassinated. It doesn't have to be here. You don't have to basically have a trial, and we can just get rid of you because we think you're a terrorist, which is absolutely insane. So, but yeah, the NSA spying. Let's see what they say. So of course, like I said, 2013, Snowden. They're collecting all your metadata. Okay, they're concerned about a powerful state, executive governance, executive order 12333. When was this made? I just want to see what year this is. They have a year for this. Okay, it says 2014. But I know that they had like a whole explanation of like how they were doing all this way before, like what justified setting all this up. Oh no, my NSA. I don't want videos on very quickly. Uh, spying. Yeah, still raises concern here. Let's go down, keep going down. Rules. Yeah, so there was stuff that he leaked about even as far back as 2009. But we know this goes back further. Um, what's strange. Okay, I'll check them out. Beauty Vision. I think there was a, you know, in 2008, like okay, this is going to sound random for how serious of a topic this is, but in the movie The Dark Knight, that movie ends with one of the things Bruce Wayne reveals to Lucius Fox is that he's created a surveillance system that could basically spy on everybody in Gotham, which Lucius Fox says this is wrong, very wrong. So again, so they obviously knew. Um, they obviously knew in '08 there had already been like talks of like people kind of knew this was going on, at least in the upper echelons of the discourse. Okay, Beauty Vision. Well, I appreciate you wanting to hang out for as long as you have been. So there's kind of an interesting connection there. But of course, again, this stuff is leaked on or this stuff gets into the news. How many people actually pay attention to it or realize that, every call they make is being recorded, that everything they look up on their search engine is, being saved somewhere. And then, of course, we get to the funniest part of all, which is how well is the government sifting through all this information to even keep us safe? Like how much, they have to have like programs that are highlighting the most red flag of the red flag of like, search engines or of searches. But I just kind of wanted to make that up because obviously, when you live in a surveillance state, which we really do, like people are always talking about how, the vaccine cards or this or that, they're being tracked. And I'm like, guys, you're being tracked the moment you're born. Like, you get a social security card, you got, you get an ID, you open a bank account. Like, how are you functioning in the modern world without a bank account? You get a debit card, you get a credit card, you have a cell phone, you have a Facebook account. Like, you guys are being tracked, like, from every which way. Like, it is almost impossible to live off the grid. And if you do, you lose access to so many things. And even then, when you go into stores, you're being surveyed. You go into a Walmart, for a few things. They got cameras everywhere. So they're going to get you. Like, it just seems very strange. And I'm not justifying any of these things, by the way. I don't want you guys to think that I'm like saying, oh, because it's everywhere and you can't really, it's so hard to beat that therefore it's okay. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's obvious that it's everywhere and we live in a surveillance state. So that might be, where I kind of end on this. Unless Beauty Pigeon has some thoughts. Right. So like people who say that there are trackers in vaccines, yet we're being tracked on our phones. Yeah, it just gets kind of silly. Like like who's tracking what and when and all that. So I don't know what to say there. Um, Moving on from that topic, so we're looking at despite rising wages, 61% of Americans are still living paycheck uh, to paycheck. Report finds. So this is from CNBC. This is published February 17th of this year. So let's give it a check. The economy is recovering, but workers are still having a hard time making ends meet. While real wages are on the rise, but can't keep up with the increased cost of living, with the growing annual pace of about 4 decades. Over the past year, inflation has eroded pay by 1.7%, according to the U.S. Department of Labor. At the end of 2021, 61% of the U.S. population was living paycheck to paycheck, and slightly from a high of 65% in 2020, according to the Lending Club report. Even among those earning six figures, 42% said they were living paycheck to paycheck, and the survey of more than 3,000 adults found. So, consumer price index, and then average hourly earning. So we're going steady. COVID hits, and I'm assuming maybe these are the checks and something else going on here, and then consumer price index, things are falling, and then bam, everything skyrockets, and then April of 2021, things are down, and then they've just gone up since in terms of wages, and then but after these rock bottomed out in the first April of 2020, they have only been rising to an insane amount. This year, companies expect to give their employees another 3.4% raise on average as the competition for talent intensifies. But that may not be enough. Americans now say they need to be up to making $122,000 a year to feel financially secure, more than double the national average, according to separate reports from financial services website Personal Capital. And another thing as well is, we're jumping around in time, but half of American workers made less than $35,000 in 2019. So we got, by 2022, or by looking at 2021, there was a report 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and nearly half of those workers are making less than $35,000 a year, which is just insane. So $35,000 in 2019, mind you. Oh, Beauty Pigeon, that's what you think you about make? It placed an estimate on the median wage around $34,248, meaning half of all workers' net compensation. Some of the earning after deductions was less than equal to the number of about 86 million people. That makes up 50% of the U.S. workers. Slightly more than 10.6 million workers earn between 25 and 30,000. And roughly the same number of workers earn between 20 and 25,000, and as well as 15 to 20. And then individuals' annual net compensation fell below 5,000, accounted for the largest fractions of workers reflected on last year's wage distribution. And there's about 20 million people in that category. So, like, people are not. Yeah, a lot of jobs don't pay, $15, $16 an hour. That's correct. But, you look at these numbers and they're just mind-boggling, And I get it. We're recovering from COVID, and that affects on the economy. But, like, this stuff's from 2019, when the economy, we're being told is like booming, and of course, it is booming in terms of record profits even right now. I think it was last year, for instance, in oil. oil and gas profits. 2021. Yeah, an eye-popping 205 billion. The 25 top oil and gas companies. According to a new report by the government watchdog accountable.us, 25 top oil and gas companies announced an eye-popping $205 billion in profits. These companies use those profits to reward shareholders, buy back stocks, while Americans struggle with price increases. Now, big oil is exploiting the crisis in Ukraine to advance an agenda to make even more money. Yeah, I mean, when you have companies that combined in an industry that owns all the resources, that are making that level of profit, it's almost inexcusable that they have to charge the prices they charge to regular people to consume their product. It's just insane. Like the idea that ExxonMobil is struggling right now, and that's why people need to be paying, on average, $4-something a gallon, is absolutely crazy, and I don't know, what to do about that. I don't know what to tell someone about that, because obviously, the people that own the business, that own the resources, are not hurting. And I get it. There is a supply chain issue. There is a drilling issue, but again, I believe you can look this up really quick. Google. Biden and oil permits. Yeah, there's 9,000 unused oil drilling permits. And it's mostly true. PolitiFact finds it mostly true. Not less equipped to withstand the impact of ban on Russian energy imports. So on and so forth. In the United States, 90% of onshore oil production takes place on land that isn't owned by the federal government, and the remaining 10% of oil is on federal land. The oil and gas industry has millions of acres leased. Biden said they have 9,000 permits to drill. They could be drilling right now, yesterday, last week, last year, and so forth. And I think the issue that some oil have come out and said the issue isn't that they can't do it. It's basically even setting up a whole new rig on untapped areas could take 6 to 8 months. Like they have to set up everything. They got to drill down in there. They have to get the oil flowing, and then they got to send it off to refineries to refine it, and they have to test what kind of oil they're getting out of it. I think America's high in what they call light or sweet oil, and not every refinery refines that kind of oil. So then they have to spend the money and the resources to get it from where they drilled it out of to them. So, it's really insane when you learn the details, and of course, most people just don't know the full details, and it's just frustrating because I think if you're listening to me speak and you've researched other people, that's not me. I'm just starting out, but people who really, really know this stuff, they can tell you, that it doesn't need to be this way. We could easily be managing the resources and controlling the resources in a much better way, in a more efficient way, that we wouldn't have these crises to this extent, to where the crises puts everybody else in a dire situation, while the people who own the resources are in the best advantage that they could ever be in. So, I don't know. Beauty Pigeon says down with capitalism. it just gets really insane really quick once you just start learning like how crazy some of this stuff is. Beauty pigeon, is there another thing I haven't kind of touched on? This was kind of new for me today, and I just kind of wanted to go over it with people. I don't have any other topics planned. It was just kind of a handful of things that I wanted to talk about for a little bit and just kind of see what's going on because I haven't streamed in a bit, and it's just really great to see everybody. And I was just kind of curious. So I don't know. I know you got to go to bed soon. And of course, I don't have a ton of other viewers to kind of go off with. So we could call it here and then, work on some more topics. And of course, we can always get together, Pigeon. Um, thought, thought slime. Oh, you thought slime? I didn't look what up that was. Thought slime? Oh, it's a YouTuber. Okay. I can look into that down the road. I don't know anything about it right now to just pull it up. Okay, so Thought Slime is a Canadian leftist anarchist comedy analysis YouTuber. Well, that's kind of cool. That'd be interesting. I'd be down with that. He has a lot of good videos. Okay, cool. Cool. So I think we might, you know, say this is it for now. And it was really good to stream with you guys, for the past 45 minutes. And I think we covered kind of a lot of different stuff just to hang out and talk. So anyway, I'm Faust, and I think I'm going to call it a night. So thank you, Beauty Pigeon, for talking us through and hanging out. Okay, you're going to be off? Okay, yeah, we can hang out. So anyway, thanks guys. See ya.